So I want to welcome you to Rewired for Success. I'm Jo Englesson, and I'm going to be your trainer today. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me later. And of course, someone's coming in. So let's get them in and let's put me on speaker. There we go. But we're actually going to dive in right away. So let's be ready. So it's called Rewired for Success. So for the purpose of this call, let's define success in this call as you winning in all areas of your life and creating extraordinary results. Okay. So I'm going to get my slides up here real quick. So I'm going to actually ask you a question. And there we go. And the question is, so success is you winning in all areas of your life and creating extraordinary results. So question is, drum roll, do you want success? And if you do, raise your hand. Do you want success? The way we defined it, right? And then would you like to have more success than you have now? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And last but not least, would you like to have more success than you can even imagine? More success than you can even imagine, given who you are right now. Okay, beautiful. Yay. So when I say more success than you can even imagine, what do you think I really mean by that? So let's take a look at that. Because if you said yes, I want more success than I can even imagine, what are you really saying? Well, you're essentially saying that you're open to a possibility that exists somewhere in another realm, somewhere outside of your box, right? Because you can't even imagine it. So in your box where you operate, you can only imagine so much. We're actually limited in our box. So simply by raising your hand and saying, I'm willing, you're actually then willing to have something that you can't even imagine. And when you do that, you actually have entered the realm of possibility. You're now saying, hey, I don't even know what it looks like, but I want it. So you're open. You're saying that you're willing to explore a new you, because the you that's here right now can't imagine what that is, right? So I'm letting some people in here. So it's like exploring a new you that aligns with having something that doesn't even exist in your box, in your realm of possibility, given who you are and what you know. So the reason I'm jumping into this right away is because for you to create as much value as possible during this training today, you must be willing to set aside what you know. And you must suspend your disbelief in order to even have a choice. And I say choice, like a choice to gain some insight, because that is a choice. It's up to you. And then after the call, you can all go back to your old beliefs and values and boxes and whatever. But for this call, I ask that you remain open. And I'm going to do a quick exercise that will illustrate this. So I'm going to put some equations on a slide. And I want you to look at these equations. Okay, look at all of them. And I want you to know that I'm actually, I'm gonna like, I don't know if it's called toot my own horn. I'm really good at math. Okay, I finished 6th grade math books in 1st grade. I have a degree in mathematical economics. Like, I'm good. And I did these equations right here, and I did them all correct. And so I graded myself, and I'm like, oh God, I'm so good. I got an 8 out of 8. Okay. So in the chat, I'm going to have you support me and grade me anyways, even though I know that they're correct. And so in the chat, I would like for you to type in my score. So I want you to grade me. Did I have 8 out of 8? Did I have 5 out of 8? Did I have 2 out of 8? So for those that don't like math, I'm sorry. Okay, I see the first one, 6 out of 8. I see 100%, 6 out of 8. Okay, so type in the chat. I know we might take, I'll give you a little second to do the math here. Okay, so I mean, it looks like most of you are going for 6 out of 8 that I actually had 2 of them incorrect. And but I want you to notice what your thoughts and feelings are when I say the next sentence. And it's not a big deal, but I want you to start noticing yourself and what is the first thought, or, what's the first feeling or emotion or reaction, right? Just start noticing. So notice what you're feeling, or what your thoughts are when I say this. Those 8 equations right here, they are all correct. They're all accurate. I am telling you that they're all correct. Okay, so just notice, you're like, oh, she's trying to trick me, or maybe you're like, I don't trust that blonde, sticky hair person, sticking up hair person. Maybe you think that you're right and I'm wrong. Maybe you're getting annoyed, and maybe you're like, I hate math anyway. So you already checked out as soon as the numbers came on the screen. You didn't even bother to grade them. Right? Just notice. All of you will have your own unique response or reaction. So just notice what it is for you. All right, so who's willing to challenge me here? Raise your Zoom hand, and when I call on you, unmute yourself. So who's willing to challenge me here? And you know that you better just go for it, because at some point yes, Cynthia, go for it. So Cynthia, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, this is Cynthia.
I love that you're driving.
I couldn't answer that question. I wanted to say all of them were right, but I couldn't answer it because I was driving.
Okay, so have you been able to look at them or no?
I can glance at them, and some of them, if you look at reality, they're wrong. But I went by your reality, and I said, okay, they're right.
All right. So, Cynthia, I'm gonna let you stay safe and drive, and I'm gonna actually call on Dinesh instead. So go ahead and mute yourself. Yeah.
Hey, Jo.
Hey.
Good to see you.
You too.
Good
you
to see
too.
Everybody here.
Yeah. So Dinesh, you said how many were correct?
6 out of 8.
6 out of 8.
From my context and experience with elementary math.
Okay, so which one do you say that I have wrong according to your elementary math?
It's not wrong, it's incorrect. And
okay.
I would say 11 plus 3 equals 2 is incorrect. And I would say 2 minus 10 equals 4 is incorrect based on the context of elementary math.
Okay, beautiful. So I love that you're giving me the context, because in that context, absolutely. Right? So everybody listen now, right? So Dinesh was basing his answers, and probably most of you that said 6 out of 8, right? You're basing it on like the base 10 decimal system that we learn in elementary school, probably, right? Well, that's not what I was doing when I was doing these math problems. Because when I did these, I was basing my equations on the clock, like the clock number system. And 11 o'clock is 3 hours is what? Right? It's 2 o'clock, and 2 o'clock, right? And 2 o'clock minus 10 hours would land at 4 o'clock.
Yes. In that context, of course, you're totally correct.
Yes, exactly. So I didn't, thank you. Let's give Dinesh a hand. We do this, we do a little, or that works too. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Dinesh. So I didn't set this up to be right? Or to trick you guys. I set it up to illustrate a point. And the point is, we don't always have, like Dinesh said, the context. We don't always have the information, right? Most of the time, though, we're certain that we're right, or that we know something. And there's so many times in life where we have this assumption that we know where the person or the people or the situation is coming from. And then we act on automatic, usually, from that assumption, when in reality, we don't always have all the answers. And we do this a lot in relationships, especially when we think we're getting to know someone, right? That's when the trouble starts. When we think we're finally getting to know someone, that's when the fighting starts. And it's because our assumptions start kicking in. And then the person might not even mean or say what you think they're communicating, because you can only hear from your assumption, your context, your box, and your filters. And then you assume on top of that, that you're right about it. So we think we know, but in our knowingness, we're assuming a bunch of stuff based on our own perspective, history, interpretation, belief, what have you. So can you imagine how much we actually may be missing living life from that perspective, from the perspective of, from those assumptions, like living life out of a perspective of, I know, and I'm right about what I know, even though you're basing it on some assumptions. And so the reason I want to illustrate this right away is so that you can be like, oh, okay, that's what she means by being open, be inquisitive, be a fool, don't know anything. And then just listen to the information and take it in from a clear space. Then after this call, you can put on, all your belief systems and do your thing. But what I'm asking is for this call, let's just be open. So let's look at it in another way. If we were to take all the knowledge and information that there is in the world and represent all of that knowledge and information as this yellow circle right here, okay? And then if you were to represent what you know out of that 100% information, what percentage would you say that you know out of all the knowledge there is out there? And I want you to type that in the chat. So if you were to represent what you know in a percentage out of all the knowledge that there is, type it in the chat. So less than 1%. I see less than 1%. 0.1%. Let's see a couple more. Type it. I guess if you're driving, don't type 0%. Well, you probably know something more than 0%. But I love Grace and Jersey. No clue. Okay, less than 1%. Okay, so we all kind of agree that it's a pretty small fraction of this circle, right? So the way that I'm going to represent it is like a sliver, because otherwise I don't think we would even see it, because it probably is 0.1% or something. I don't know, right? So it's not that big, but we're going to represent it this way so that you can see it. Okay. Now, this is essentially the stuff in here that you know that you know. So, for instance, I know that I know how to drive a stick shift, which is crucial living in Spain. I know that I know how to speak Swedish. I know how to make a phone call. I know how to get dressed in the morning, thank God. There are a lot of things that we simply know that we know, right? So you know that you know it. Now, there's another part of your sliver, right? That's also within the realm of knowing. And so it's going to actually be part of your sliver. And that is, that you don't know it, right? So, for example, I know that I don't know how to fly an airplane. I know that I don't speak Russian. So I know that I don't know it. But it's still in the realm of I know, right? I know that I know that I know it, and I know that I don't know it. So it's still within the realm of I know. Now, the 6-week training that I'm going to talk a little bit more about later, and also the training today, is actually happening in the other space, outside of that sliver, outside of that box. And that's when you enter what we call the realm of possibility. Right? So outside of what we know, there's this realm of possibility, this space of unlimited potential, like pure potentiality. And it's essentially saying in that space, I don't know that I know it, right? And I don't know that I don't know it. So you're now moving into a space or a realm or a space of I don't know. I don't know. Like there are actually things inside your consciousness that you don't even know that you know, and that you don't even know that you don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've all had an experience in life where you're like, huh, I didn't even know I knew how to do that, right? That's so cool. And then you've kind of expanded your sliver because now you know it, right? And so in this space, the realm of possibility is where all the fun happens. This is where the juice is. This is where the extraordinary and unimaginable success exists. And it's literally here and available to you now already. And the only thing that it's going to take for you to access this is a shift of your mindset. That's it. It's already available. So it's not like, that unimaginable success and those results are so far away. No, it's here, right in front of you. And all it's going to take is a shift in the way that you look at yourself, the way that you look at the world. You're going to look at your beliefs and your assumptions, and then be willing to be wrong about how you have it in some areas. So when you start setting goals in the realm of possibility and you become committed to have them happen, it's going to require you to take a look at you and transform yourself. And I use the word transform here because if we say change, we're saying, okay, I know that I don't speak Russian, so I'm going to go take a course and learn it. Now, no, all you're doing then is changing something within the I know realm. That's not transformation. So setting goals and having them happen in the realm of possibility is going to require you to transform yourself so that you become the person, that is the context, the environment, the vibration, the space for that result to show up or to exist. And most likely for the things that we might have been going for our life, right? If you've been going for stuff in your life and you still don't have that specific result or that vision or that goal, it's just because who you are is not congruent with that specific vision or goal, right? Because if it were congruent, then you would already have it. You're just simply not an environment or context for what those things that you want yet, right? So the question is, how the hell do we become that? How do we set goals and have them happen in a space that is completely outside of our box? Well, I want to welcome you to Rewired for Success, which is, I kind of say it's a sampling of my 6-week course, Rewired for Peace. But there's still a lot of different things that happen, but you kind of get the feel of what the course is about. But Rewired for Peace is just like, boom. It's amazing. And so Rewired for Peace is a proven system how to joyously level up, crush your goals, and leave a legacy without doing more or feeling overwhelmed. Now, I know that I just threw all of that right at you from the start. And I'm okay with that because I want you to be on your toes. Now, I want to acknowledge each and every one of you for making the choice to be on this call. Because for some of you, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. Others are having lunch. I'm in Spain. It's 6:24 now in the evening. So acknowledge yourself for being here, for handling whatever you needed to handle to make it on this call. Thank you for that. And I want to invite you to, as I mentioned earlier, to be an opening for something new. Something that will inspire you so that when you get off this call, your life has already been altered and maybe even the lives of others, hopefully for the better. So I promised you in some of the emails and in the marketing for this, that I will give you the key or the formula for unlocking extraordinary results or unimaginable success. So let's get started. Now, in order for any success to show up in the realm of possibility, you have to be the context or the environment for it to exist. But before we go in and explore context, I want to look at vision. Because underneath any extraordinary results or success, it's critical that we have a solid and clear vision. Vision is like like the water for the success formula to swim in, right? It's like the context for it that it needs to thrive. So I'm going to start by telling you a story from my own life and what had me get clear on my vision. And so I want to share how I went from being a handbag saleswoman to owning and operating a successful transformational training center in 5 cities in the United States, with a vision of awakening humanity and spreading gratitude in the world. So in 2007, I was in what was called a transformational training that took place over 4 months. And when I was in the final part, it's so funny, someone's coming in right now and their name is Mom. I'm like, my mom is coming. It's not my mom. Anyway, so it took place over 4 months. When I was in the final part of this curriculum, I was in a leadership portion of the program. I was traveling. And I was traveling from Sweden to the US because I had been in Sweden because it was my brother's, I think it was his, I don't know what year it was, but a birthday that I went to. And I'm going, and I'm at the New York airport, and I'm going to, from one gate to the other to hop on a flight to Florida. And I was running late, and I was charging through the airport. I'm like, I have got to make this flight. And so I wasn't really paying attention. And mind you, I had been going through this transformational training, so I started being more aware of my environment, but I still had training wheels on. Like I wasn't that aware. So I'm charging through the airport, and I don't see this guy that's by the gate, and I literally run him over with my body, like poof, a crash, and he falls to the ground. And it's this older gentleman. And I'm just like, oh my God, he's going to get so mad. And like all these things in my mind, I start bracing myself because in the world that I live in, when you do that and you don't pay attention, people get pissed off, And so I'm bracing myself, and suddenly he gets up, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And instead he looks at me and he smiles and he's like, don't worry about it. I bet you do this all the time. And in that moment, he showed me something. He showed me that the world doesn't have to be the way that I have it. The world doesn't have to, he was like an interruption to my racket. He was an interruption to how I saw the world, and that he would get pissed off. And now I had to say, I'm sorry, all this stuff. Right. And I just had this overwhelming feeling of gratitude for this man. And I was like, oh my God, like this is what the world could be like. And like, I love this man. And he was just like, okay, well, bye. And he walks away, and he had this little, like one of those veterans hat, like a hat, but he had it like just high up on his head. It was just kind of sitting there, but he was so cute. He walks away with his daughter and his granddaughter. And I'm standing there, and I'm just like, how do I thank this man? I start reaching in my pockets, like there's going to be something in my pocket to express my gratitude. Here's $1, And so I obviously didn't have anything. And I get on the plane, and as I come up, I get in my seat, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, what if we actually had something that we could give people in those moments of gratitude? What if there was actually some tangible object that we could just give people, when someone interrupts our racket, or they're opening a door for us, and we're just like, thank you, or, like that gratitude and awareness. And I thought, yeah, like a coin or something. And in that moment, I came up with an idea, and I was like, what if there was a coin that you could give people in those moments that just said, thank you for making a difference in my day? And you just hand it to them. And then being an ex-computer consultant, I was like, what if we can make them trackable? What if they go and register it online, and then they can pay it forward? And so it'll be these pay it forward coins, and like all this love and gratitude and interruption is going to just be spread all over the world. And I knew in that moment what I was going to do with my life. It was that profound for me. It was like the purpose, the vision was clear, and I knew that I wanted to spread awareness and gratitude across the world. And I sat there and I looked out the window, and it was just like this feeling, and it's funny, it was a feeling of flying. And yes, I was up in the air flying, but like it was this feeling of flying that I was just like, everything was so effortless and at ease, you know, and I just knew a knowingness. And so I get off the plane, and it turns out that this man was on the same flight. His name's Don Worms. And so I run up to him and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like I found my purpose. I'm going to transform the world and I'm going to spread gratitude and awareness. Thank you for making a difference in my life. And he's just like, okay, lady, you're welcome. And I was able to get his address and phone number from his daughter without him knowing. And so about a year, no, not a year to the date. So I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create these tokens. And what was different this time, because I'm an inventor. I come from an inventor family. Like there's statues of my great grandfather and stuff. And so I always come up with stuff. But the problem with me was I would always stop at like 80, 90%. But this time I had gone through this transformational training and I'd started shifting my context. And more importantly, I was in this leadership program with a team of people that were not going to sell out on me no matter what. And they knew me better than probably most of my best friends at this point. And so I had this team to cheer me on and to hold me accountable. And so a year to the date of bumping into Don Worms, I had minted the tokens. I had created the tracking website online. Yes, Summit Education for someone that just asked in the comment. I had minted the tokens, created the website, and I started something called the Giving Year. And I drove up, since I had the address, I drove up to Don Worm's house unannounced and was able to go and sit with him and tell him what I was creating and what had happened in the year prior. And that I thanked him. I sat with him. I thanked him for making a difference in my life and most likely the life of many other people. And so that day I started something called the Giving Year. And the Giving Year was essentially a commitment. It was like an idea I just got that I was going to give a token away for 365 days. And I was going to document it on YouTube. And I didn't really, know what this was going to create for me or anything, but I was able to go to his house on day one and give him token number one and film that. And so for the next 365 days, I'm literally running around with tokens in my pocket, a camera in my hand, creating and generating these moments of gratitude for me to be grateful for, or for me to awaken to, and then being able to thank people for it. Now, when you decide to do something every day, or like New Year's rolls around and you're like, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. And then 2 weeks later, you're not doing it anymore. Right. But this was there was something so important for me in this commitment with the 365 days. Like my commitment was so much more powerful than that little voice, the little parrot, or, the little racket, the little saboteur that's in my head. My commitment was so much, and my vision was so much more powerful that even on the hardest days during that year, when I'm like, I don't even want to get out of bed, I would just get up and create a moment of gratitude and document it on YouTube. Like it wasn't even a question. It was like having a baby and they're sick. Like you're going to get up no matter how tired you are. So it was like that. So before I go on, I would love to share, I'm going to share some snippets, some videos from the Giving Year. And I hope that you enjoy it. So let me get in the sharing. Here we go.
I'm a one-way motorway. I'm a road that drives away, follows you back home. I'm I'm a street light shining. I'm a white light blinding bright, burning off and on. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time again. I'm a new day rising. I'm a brand new sky to hang the stars upon tonight. I'm a little divided. Do I stay or run away? Leave it all behind. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time again. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time and time again. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time again. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these, give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time again.
Thank you. So, thank you for letting me share that with you. It's always so powerful for me to I remember every single moment, and I have like who has 365 videos of a whole year? Like I could go back and I know what happened that day. It's actually pretty neat. So so we're gonna do I'm gonna come back a little bit to the story later, but let's start jogging your vision and your goals. And so we're gonna do a vision exercise. Okay, so make sure you have your chat open, and let's see what else you do. Oh yeah, because you're gonna be participating in the chat. And for those that are watching a recorded version, you can write in a journal instead. So for a moment, I want you to just imagine that if everyone on this call, everyone in your city, everyone in your community, in your city, in your state, if you're in a state, in your country, in fact, imagine everyone on the planet. Imagine the amazingness that would manifest in the world if all of our visions actually turned out. Right? And when I say vision, I'm assuming that it's a vision that will that will be a vision that, will better the world, or better your life, or, that something is actually transformed into something amazing. Because, I wouldn't call it a vision if it's more like a goal to cause something that causes pain or anything. So, because the thing is, it doesn't matter though, like if you're what you're wearing or how you look, or how they, if they're like from the same religion, or all human beings want something. They all have visions for their kids, maybe for their families, the career, the world. So I want you all to take a deep breath in and let it out. And so we're going to get started. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Everyone could just close your eyes. And take just a few calm breaths and get present. Just be here now. You carved out this time for you, and you deserve it. You deserve some you time. Now, I want you to think of a vision or a goal that is important to you. And I'm not asking for a vision that's going to take years or decades. You may have those too, but for the purpose of today and the purpose of this exercise, pick something that you want to have happen in 1 year. And it may support you if it's something related to what you're up to in your life right now, or maybe why you got on the call in the first place. It may be something that you want. Pick anything. Getting married, pregnant, finding your dream partner, running a marathon, traveling to your favorite country, anything. Now, some of you may already know what it is for you, and some of you may be searching. It's all good. But if you do have the 1 year vision or goal in your mind, feel free to open your eyes and share it in the chat. Type it in the chat. What is it? Share with us. And if you're still thinking about it, you can keep your eyes closed to stay present. Just visualize it, feel it, taste it. What is it that you want? So I see my vision is to end gang violence across the world. Start a good news channel. Good news only. Start with good news to bring more good. Open a transformation center. Beautiful. This goal led me to launch an energy startup company. Love it. Awesome visions. When you know what it is, if you haven't written it yet, open your eyes and type it in the chat. Sustainable farm, encouraging community. Now, I want you to notice what comes up for you as you share your vision and as you read other people's vision. Maybe you're thinking yours isn't big enough, or maybe you think it's too big. Maybe you want to change your vision after reading other visions. Maybe it's scary or vulnerable just to even put it down in words, right? It makes it more real. Are you proud of your vision or embarrassed? Just notice your inner dialogue. It's just you doing you. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just you doing you, not just notice. So I see some other ones. Keys in my hand to my single family home with financial security and prosperity and my confidence, thriving career in music and entertainment, and in my canine coaching company. To assist my community in awareness of daily gratitude. Thank you, Dolores. be with family. Donna, I was a little, that might have to rewrite that one. So, encourage peacemakers. I have 2. So maybe you don't want to share at all, right? Maybe you didn't write everything you thought of, or maybe you wrote more once your fingers hit the keyboard, right? Maybe you wrote more than you had in mind. Amazing. Now I want you to acknowledge yourself for doing it. Okay? However you want to acknowledge yourself, I want you to acknowledge. You can pat yourself on the shoulder, you can give yourself a high five, you can shower yourself with love. Just acknowledge yourself for whatever you did, and then notice how that feels. How does it feel to acknowledge yourself? Do you even ever do you do that? Do you ever stop yourself and go, God damn it, I'm good. Like I just did really well. I just participated in this vision thing and I wrote it in the chat. Great job, Joe. I didn't just walk away, right? So notice yourself and begin to watch yourself and notice how you do you. Okay. So we're going to move on to the next question. So I'm going to put another prompt on the screen. Okay. I want you to think of 3 to 5 things that you would be experiencing if you had that vision turn out in a year. You know, like if you had the transformational center, if you had the community in a sustainable community, right? Like think of what you would be experiencing if you had it turn out in a year. And it could be like an emotion, like feeling happy, excited, peaceful, or it could be more like a character trait, like I'd feel committed, I'd feel determined, I'd feel vulnerable, right? Most of these things in the trainings, we call them ways of being. So what kind of person would you be or become, right, if you crush this goal? So type it in the chat. What are some of the experiences you would have if you were there already and you crushed it? So I see confidence, peace, prosperity, kindness, gratitude, enough, belonging, open and willing to step into family, peace, gratitude, fulfillment, serenity, and joy. Amazing. Driven, committed, energetic, bubbly. I love that. Thank you, Michael. Bubbly. I feel my dream from 1990 is manifesting. Teams for the following: free daycare for 2 to 5-year-olds, home for the homeless. So Mom, I don't know your name. I'm just gonna call you Mom, even though you're not my mom, as far as I know. What are the experiences you would have if you already had the free daycare for 2 to 5-year-olds? What's the experience you would have, like in an experience? Dolores, gratitude, appreciation, thankfulness, kindness, happiness, love, connection, and discomfort. Thank you, Cynthia. And now keep noticing what comes up when you're sharing, right? And then we're going to move on to the next question. And if you're still typing, just feel free to share it. All right, next one. So I want you to think of 2 to 5 actions that you would need to take this month to be on track for this goal to turn out in a year. And the reason I put 2 to 5 is because some of you are doers and you might already have a to-do list ready to go. Some of you might not have a single thing you know. So 1 to 2 is fine too. But at least some actions that you would need to take this month to be on track for this goal. So just write those down in the chat. Donna Brown says, get on a plane. That makes me want to look what your vision was, Donna. Be with family. Okay, got it. That would be a good thing if they're not near you. So 2 to 5 actions, some action you could take this month to be on track for this to be a reality within a year. Meditate. Lead me to the teams I need and keep expecting things to come to place. So I guess trust then probably, right? Cynthia? Actions. Meditate, breath, showing up, open to receive. All right, so are they planning advertisement posts, organize my workspace, make music and complete a project, organize a trip tour, create and follow self-care routine? See, we got one of the doers here. Love it. Be open to what my mom and people in general are attempting to communicate in their words, actions, and ways of being. Dolores says, spreading joy and gratitude by organizing a gratitude awareness trip in Africa by December. I love that. Keep me posted. Total analyst doer. Okay, beautiful. So we're gonna go to the next one. And again, if you're still typing, feel free to hit enter whenever you're ready. All right, so now I want you to write down 2 to 5 people or groups who could support you in having that vision. Okay, so think of your support system. Like, who would stand for you to have this no matter what? And the way you can share it in the chat is you could be like, you know, like Marilyn, my mom, or Johnny, my coach, or my women's group on Facebook. You know, like it could be a group, it could be a person, whomever or whatever, you know, that if you told them what you're up to, they would have you win. Joe, my coach. The LGBTQ and Pride teams, ML family, my parents, my sisters, awesome. Now notice if you can't think of anyone, or maybe you're thinking of too many, or maybe you're feeling guilty that, you know, you didn't put someone on there. Whatever comes up, notice your inner conversations. What happens in your mind? No one else will ever know but you. And a lot of times we don't even know, right? You guys are awesome. Vincent says, I have lots of people and groups that will support me. So Vincent, think of maybe one person or 2 or 3 that you know. And maybe it's someone that would challenge you. Maybe it's someone you haven't thought of, you know? And hone in on your team. Tell them they're on your team, you know? Cynthia says, oh, Dolores, gratitude Facebook group, family, my colleagues at work. Cynthia says, my friend, former co-workers, celebrities like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, they're all on my vision board. I love it. All right, you guys are amazing. Oh, got it. I got the names. I'm keeping them on my sheet. That's good. Thank you, Dinesh. All right, so who would like to share about what you have? So I'd like for someone to share what your vision was, who was your support system, what are the emotions that you would be experiencing, and who's on your team. And it doesn't have to be a long share. So who's willing to share? Either raise your hand or I will call on somebody. Give you a chance to contribute. That's what sharing is. It's contributing. So who wants to contribute? And now Dinesh is like, I would raise my hand like I did last time, but I already talked. So like, notice what's happening. Nobody made a rule that you can't talk twice, right? But that's what we do. There we go. Okay, I'm going to call on you then. Go, Dinesh.
Okay, no, actually, this is actually perfect timing. Because yesterday I actually got in touch with an ML grad that um I hadn't really connected with for a long time. Sharmila is her name. She wouldn't mind her name being used. And you know, certain things that like I'm going through culturally, uh she's West Indian, I'm East Indian, but like I found out yesterday that like a lot of the stuff that she's going through with her mom and with her expectations of life are actually not too different from the stuff that I'm going through. And actually I put her name down as one of the people who could support me, because it was just like it was one of those things where, you know, having done the work, there's this, I would say there's distinct kinds of traumas that somebody, like, you know, they're just like, oh, you didn't get an A on your exam and your mom got mad at you, like, big whoop, suck it up, deal with it. But it's just like, for somebody that's Indian, that's a big deal.
Right. I get
It's
it.
not the same.
All right. So tell me, Dinesh,
And
what's your vision?
yes, so my vision is to open myself up to trust. um uh like I definitely like close myself off to trusting people, and in that way I'm like, you know, it's a protective mechanism for me. It's there's a payoff that I get protection by closing myself off, and it also keeps me in my bubble without moving forward. So it's like to move beyond that bubble of comfort, to get into, to allow myself to experience discomfort, because the comfort's holding me back.
Okay.
That's my
So
vision.
so your vision and so your goal that you'd like to achieve within a year, you would say is to be like to have trust in your life.
Yeah, to be open to trusting and see what comes from it.
Okay. And what were some of the what would you experience if you had that level of trust?
Connection.
You would experience connection.
I keep myself disconnected just so I don't have to allow myself to be vulnerable to possibly getting hurt or disappointed.
Okay, so connection. And you said one person on your team, so we can go with that. And I'm sure there are others on your team too. And what about an action that you could take within the next month that would put you on track to experience that level of trust within a year?
I mean, there's definitely like a lot of feedback that I get from people, and usually, like, if it's feedback that I don't like, I go into resistance towards it. So to allow myself to be open to where that feedback is coming from, do some introspection into myself and see where I'm closing people off.
Okay, so let's think of an action. So yes, there could be an action. I could do some more introspection, that like you're still kind of, going in the same hamster wheel, because if you actually had the capabilities of trust, you would be trusting already, right? So there's some things that are missing and you're missing out on connection. So what is an action step that you could take? Not in the realm of like ways of being, more like what is something that you could do that you haven't done before to get you on track to experience life with the level of trust that you're looking for?
Maybe meet up for coffee with somebody who's I'm in resistance with.
Okay, that's an action.
And
okay,
yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be anybody immediate family or something like that. Somebody that I could easily disconnect from, and I can actually meet up and have a connection session with them, or, like, you know what I'm saying, coffee or something, and those
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say then that if you were to be like, if you were to go meet up with someone, then,
Uh-huh.
right? If you go meet up with someone, then you would experience connection, and then you would have trust.
I mean,
Would
it
you
wouldn't
s-
happen. It wouldn't happen like immediately like that. There would be a level of discomfort, and then there that possibility for trust, it would be there. Yes.
Okay.
When my story, when like the fact is different from the story that I make up.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. We're going to do one more real quick with RJ. Thank you, Dinesh. Let's give him a hand or this or hello, hallelujah. Okay. Awesome. So unmute yourself. So what was your vision?
Hi, good afternoon. Oh, or
Good afternoon. Good to see
Yeah.
you.
Good to see you too. I was trying to figure out how to raise my hand earlier, but I wasn't sure how to do that. So thank you for your patience.
No worries.
My vision for myself a year from now is to have, like I said, keys in my hand to my single family home. I feel like I've wanted a single family home for quite some time now, and to put it into action is definitely a plan for this year. I'd love to have the financial security that it would take to have a single family home, and to continue to thrive in my career in music and entertainment, and also in my canine coaching company. I run 2 full-time businesses right now, and I would love to have them just be thriving and be my sole sources of income.
Okay. So let's go with the single family home. And what, let's say you had it right now. You have the keys, you're walking in. What are some of the experiences that you're experiencing, having?
Excitement, peace, like accomplishment, goals met, long time coming kind of accomplishment. So like deep accomplishment, I guess you could say.
Okay. Peace. So peace, excitement, and accomplishment.
Mhm.
So essentially, if you had the money, right, then you would have your single family home, and then you'd be, peace, excited, feel a sense of accomplishment.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Awesome. All right. So give her a hand. Give her a hand, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I am going to bring up some slides real quick here. So let's look at this. Let's look at this. Yay. Are you the victim, controller, or creator? Okay. Make myself a little smaller here. So most people, there's essentially 3 ways that we can navigate life. Okay. Using the patterns and beliefs of the victim, the controller, or the creator. Now, most of the world tend to operate from the victim or the controller. In fact, it's been so ingrained in all of us throughout time that if we just rely on externals and if we do more, we're going to find joy and happiness. Right? Being happy has become like this conditional response to an external circumstance rather than an emotion or an experience innate within our very core, like our natural birthright. So let's take a look at these 3. All right. What is the victim? Okay. So the victim wants the current reality to change to then do and be something. Right. So it's kind of like, if I have the money, then I'll be able to do my website and then I'll be successful. Or if I have a life partner, then I would travel the world and then I'd be happy. So the victim lives life as if life and its circumstances are in charge of the outcome, right? And we call this the have, do, be model. If or when I have something, then I'll be able to do something, and then I will be something. So for instance, again, when I have money, this is like just a funny one. Like when I have money, then I can dress better and then I'll be sexy, right? So being sexy is now contingent on having money. Have, do, be. A victim can't be successful or happy until something outside of them changes first. So they're living life as if it's dependent on others and situations or circumstances that they need to change. And when they do that, they actually have no power to create what it is that they want or to reach their full potential. Now, the controller also wants to change the current reality, but by doing more to then have and be. So the controller operates from a do, have, be model. So the more they do, the more they'll have, and then they will be happy and successful. Now, the controller might get shit done, right? And the controller may create a bunch of haves, but usually it doesn't produce that authentic be, right? They wonder why they might still feel empty or depressed and tired, even though they have everything that they wanted. And so then they do more, and then they don't reach that beingness, that happiness. Now, the third one that most people don't live by, which is really the only one that works authentically, and that's the creator. I call it the win-winner. Now, the creator redesigns who they are first to inspire action and create results. So how does the creator operate? So the creator actually adheres to the be, do, have model. So for them, it's not about what I need to do or what I need to have to succeed. It's focused on who do I need to be in order to do and have what I want. And so they explore what kind of person and what qualities would need to be present for someone to have what it is that they want. They focus on the becoming or the being aspects of the equation first. Be, do, have. If I can be that person, what would I be doing? Then the having is inevitable and it would just take care of itself. So if I be an author, then I would do the writing daily, and then I'd have a published book. Once you realize that nothing external and no amount of doing this will make you happy, you will become an opening to shift the victim or controller pattern and then enter the world of the creator. So the victim and controller actually resist the current reality, but the creator embraces the current reality through reinvention and redesign. So the current reality becomes the creator's playground. And the reason I call it the win-winner is because if I say the winner, it sometimes implies that there's a loser, right? But the win-winner is someone that wins and makes sure that everyone else around them win too. It's someone that just naturally comes from abundance, that there is enough for everyone. So what works is the be, do, have. And again, most people operate from have, do, be, or do, have, be, but it's the be first. Then the doingness will be effortless and the having will take care of itself. Be, be, be. And if we were to look at like RJ, for instance, so the way we said it was, if I had the money, right, then I'd have a single family home, and then I'd experience peace. I would be, I experience peace, excitement, and accomplishment.
Yes.
So peace and excitement and accomplishment is something, it's a context that a new house with the keys to a house would exist in, right? But a lot of times we think we need to have the money first and right? But really, if you focused on being peace now and being excited now and being an accomplished human being, now you're starting to create a context or an environment for single family house to exist, right? So it's the B coming first. So rather than how, right? How do I do this? Let's begin to think of who. And you might ask yourself like, oh my God, where do I start, right? How do I shift the way I operate? Well, one proven way to interrupt your racket is to sign up for the 6-week Wired for Peace course. Of course, I'm going to say that, right, at the end of this class. Because Rewired for Peace is a course in beingness. It's a course that's going to take dynamite to your box and your ego and support you and have you become aware, but support you in shifting what's not producing what it is you say that you want. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I am ready to give you the gratitude success formula. Yay! So now we're getting into the gem of today's course, the gratitude success formula. And as I mentioned before, in order to have this formula be most effective, it's essential that you have and that you're clear on a juicy vision, really clear. And I would invite you to even look back at the visions that you put down. Some of them were crystal clear. Some of them might have been vague. You want to get clear. So in my case, in 2007, when I bumped into Dawn Worms at the airport, I declared to create gratitude and awakening in the world. Now, it's expanded a little bit, this vision. It's expanded to world peace in my lifetime. But that's just because I keep upping the game. Now, so again, vision is like air to life, like soil to fertilization. So once you know what it is for you, it's already in your context. The moment you know and you're clear in your vision, it's actually already here, right? Most people have vision or goal outside of themselves, something that's far away, right? And I'm telling you, once you're clear on it, it's already available, but who you are and your actions are not allowing you to bask in it yet. So it's your job to match yourself and your actions up to that vision for you to have it or for you to see it, that it's already here. So how do we do that? Well, it starts with context. So what is context? Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm in Spain, and I also used to live in Florida. And if I wake up in the morning in either of those places and I look out the window and I see a palm tree, no big deal, no shocker, right? I'd be like, oh, there's a palm tree. Because Spain or Florida is an environment for palm trees to exist, right? Now, if I go to the North Pole and then one day I look out the window and there's a palm tree, I'm going to be like, what the? No, oh my God, call the media. Why? Because palm trees do not grow on the North Pole. And why is that? Because the North Pole is not an environment for it to grow there, right? It's not an environment, it's not a space, it's not a context for palm tree to exist. So we can put it this way. The context is the environment for the content to exist. Okay, so the context is the environment for the content to exist. Now, we as human beings, we're like a walking context. We're a walking context because of who we're being and how we show up in life. It is what creates the environment for certain content to exist. So if I'm a context for abundance and a context for joy and gratitude, I'm going to have things in my life that exist in that context, right? So for instance, in the context of abundance, I would most likely have enough. I would always have enough because I show up and I live from a context of abundance. And enoughness is the content that exists in the context of abundance. So context is the environment that the content can exist in. And if you're not that environment, ladies and gentlemen, it cannot exist. It cannot exist. So if you're a context for scarcity, you cannot have abundance in your life. It's impossible. And then we're sitting there, we're like, oh, I don't know why I don't have any money in the account. Oh, right. It doesn't work. And it's actually pretty simple. It's like a simple formula. So context is a space or environment or container in which certain things will thrive and certain things will not. Human beings are simply a context that attracts certain things that can exist and thrive into the space that we are. So context is the container. So it's not like you can say, oh, I want to be context. It's not a thing in itself. It's a space. So the question would be, context for what? And that's where we get to get clear. It could be a context for love, context for relationship. You could also have a context of fear, division, righteousness. Or it could be a context for abundance, peace. It could be anything. Context is just a container. Now you get to decide what you're going to put in it to create your external life and your results. So you already are a context. Now you get to ask yourself, what am I a context for? What am I a context for? And I'm sorry to break it to you, and maybe it's good for some of you, but you're all a context for exactly what you have right now. For every single result you have in your life, that's what you're a context for. So in this very moment, you're being an environment for everything that shows up in your life. So let's say you're a business owner, but let's say you've been struggling to make ends meet. The first thing you want to explore is what characteristics and what qualities are present in someone that has a thriving business, and begin to access that. So that's the question. Who do I need to be? What kind of person and what qualities would need to be present to have what I want? So if you want peace in your life, right, and you go yell at the Starbucks barista every day because the coffee is not hot enough, I'm sorry, peace does not exist in that context. And that's why I said earlier, you want to watch yourself, you want to notice yourself, because you're constantly creating that environment. You're constantly projecting your externals. And if you see what you don't like, it's coming from you. I mean, I know this. I wake up, if I wake up in the morning and I'm tired, I had a bad night's sleep and I'm not in a good mood, I bet you my life that my kids are going to like that. This is going to be a bad morning, right? I'm creating an environment for that. So I want you to think about your vision again. And rather than the feelings or the character traits you imagine having after your vision turned out, those experiences, I want you to think of what kind of person and what ways of being and qualities need to be present now to have what you want. And most of those, in most cases, is going to be the same ways of being or experience that you put down as wanting after you have and do a bunch of stuff. And if these things are not present for you today, then take an honest look, identify them, and begin the journey to master those first. It's not a bunch of doing this, right? Master that first. And the Rewired for Peace course will support you with all the tools to have this transformation occur for you and for you to master those qualities. And so from my story about TOFA earlier, like I had already began working on my beingness because I just completed that transformational training, right? Like the one I'm offering too. So my context was already changing. So let's look at the next part of the equation. Yay, committed action. So remember the TOFA story I shared, right? I declared to give a token out for 365 days, and then I took committed action to have it happen. Even though some days I wasn't feeling it, right? My commitment was greater than my circumstances. So committed action. The third one, committed action is an action or way of being that's generated because of my commitments, my vision, and promises, rather than my judgments, feelings, circumstances, assessments, right? So next one, team. So the next ingredient is team, and I like to call team, it could also be community. So for me, because I was in the leadership program when I started TOFA, I had that team of people, like I said, they wouldn't sell out on me. And they cheered me on and held me accountable. And so as content, a team is a group of people working together under the umbrella of a common mission, purpose, or goal. And as context, a team is being unified connected, understanding, contributing, supportive, accepting, and engaged, committed to common as well as the individual's goals and purpose. So here's the deal. When you pick a team, like the first, as content, it's like, yeah, it's a team of people, common mission, purpose, and goal. But you want to start looking at the ways of being of a team, right? Teams and communities have ways of being like those, like I had there, supporting, contributing, accepting. You want to find that in your team. And then the question is, who do I want on my team? And maybe even who would be the best, who would serve my vision the best, right? Maybe you're a person that likes to have people just cheer you on, and you want them to champion you. You might need a champion on your team. That's what makes you work harder, and that's what makes you have it happen. Maybe you need a challenger. Maybe you need someone that challenge you and on everything that you do, and they're constantly playing the devil's advocate, and maybe that gets you going. Or maybe you need a quiet bystander, like someone you can call at 3 a.m. in the morning, and you're like, I just want you to listen. I just need to run something by you. You don't want any advice. You don't want them to champion you or challenge you. You just want them to listen. And I want you to look at these, and I want you to think about which style of support would benefit you the most, right? And then look at the people that you wrote down earlier. Does it match what you need? Do we even know, right? Do we even know ourselves well enough to know? And so, drum roll, context plus committed action plus team or community equals extraordinary results. So again, just like in the be, do, have context, it starts with your beingness. Now, I know that this formula works because I was living it. So what are my results, right? The ones that I couldn't even imagine as I walked into my transformational training journey on day one. Those results that were hanging out in the don't know realm of possibility. Well, because of living life within the success formula with a clear vision, this is what happened over the following 10 years. So I created gratitude training in West Palm Beach, and we had 10 people graduating first class. And then I experienced massive growth. And in 10 years, the company had over 20,000 graduates, 25 employees, 20 trainers operating in 5 cities. I got married and I had 2 beautiful kids. I bought my dream house on the water in Florida. I wrote a book. I delivered keynotes all across the US. Now, these are just a few. They were not even on my roadmap. None of this existed when I walked into my first transformational training. So I know that this works. I want to say this shit works. And all it takes is a willingness to step outside the box and get committed to master this formula with a new context of, I don't know that I know, and I don't know that I don't know. Simply put, I don't know yet, but I'm open to finding out. But then what do we do when the formula creates what we don't want, right? Maybe we start seeing the results that we don't want when life crashes down on us. Well, it's all about awareness and being responsible and not being a victim to it. Even if in the moment we may feel victimized by COVID, division, war, whatever's going on in your life, the question is, can you be in it rather than of it? Can you be in it and not become it? Right? Can we get aware and shift our way of being to generate what we want again? Absolutely. And this is where it gets hard, because for me, when COVID hit, I could choose the narrative, right? And I'm going to go in the extremes. I could either say, I lost everything, poor me, it's the trainer's fault, it's COVID's fault, it's financial. I could just blame everything outside of me. Poor me. Or I can choose a story that will empower me and be willing to maybe be wrong about how I had it. And see, what happened is when success arrived for me, at some point, way before COVID, I became complacent. And I also moved from being really excited in the training rooms to like an office managing personalities and putting out fires, right? It's not what I wanted. I was no longer happy. So what I do, I created a hurricane that destroyed my headquarters because I wanted to let me know that you're not happy. We gotta go. We gotta do something else. So I created a hurricane that destroyed the headquarters. It didn't work. So then I created a cyber bully harassing me for 2 years, every night for 2 years. Well, that didn't work because little Jo was in her office just doing. I was so righteous about how I thought I was going to get to my vision, right? I was righteous about my committed action. Like it had to be the gratitude training that was going to create my vision. So then I was like, I created a business partner to break with me. That didn't work. So then I thought really hard. It's like, what would get little Jo to get that she's not living her 10 life right now? I know, a pandemic. Let's force her out. So at the end of the day, COVID showed me where I was being right in my business, and it showed me my new commitments. My vision's still the same. My way of being still the same, but I was not willing to be flexible with my committed action, and I was not willing to be flexible with my team. And once I readjusted all of that, and it took me 2 years, I now get to live in Spain and be with you awesome people all over the world in a new way. Thank you. So I know I covered a lot here today, and you might have some questions. And I know I've given you some insights and tools to use in your life, but I want to answer the biggest question I get. And it goes something like this. Okay, I get it, Jo. Like I need to change my context, my environment to create the results I want. And I get that it starts with my beingness or who I'm being. So how do I do that? Like, how do I reframe everything that's been ingrained into my current being? You know, the stuff that's now like become my beliefs and who I am. And my answer is simple. Do the training. Just simply sign up for the 6-week Rewired for Peace. After this call, I'm offering it for $475 on the website. It's normally $675, and I'm knocking off an extra $200 for you. So the entire course plus the bonuses is only $275. Do the training. I don't know what else to say. There are no magic wands. There are no quick fixes, no shortcuts, right? And I don't want to sell you any of that anyway, because I know I have a course that will catapult you and your results and create an army of powerful change makers across the world. You know, and whether you make that powerful change in your life, in your family, or in the world. And this is for you that maybe that you're on this call and you've already done the live trainings in the US before the pandemic. Here's why you should do this training. First off, it's a great refresher. We've all had a few challenging years and the drift is powerful. And second, you may want to join me and become certified to deliver this introduction and the 6-week course on your own, under your own umbrella, to your own community, your own company. And it's a prerequisite to attend as a student first. So do the training. Shortly after we hang up, I'm going to send you an email with a recording from today and the sign up link. But I just want to give you the link now. I'm just going to pull it up so that you can see. Share screen. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so Rewired for Peace. The next course is on January 10th, starts January 10th. It's a great way to start 2023. And it's 6 weeks. It's an hour and a half on Tuesday lunchtime. It's like a long lunch break for those of you that work. And the reason the times are not in the evenings is because I don't want to be up at 1 a.m. in the morning. So, so this is how it is now. The additional $200 is available. I think it's usually for 2 days, but for some reason it says 6 days here. So I guess you guys are lucky. So you can see in the countdown timer so that you know. And essentially, you can come to this page and you can see what some of our students say, how it works, and the bonuses. So included is, just in the regular course, 6 2-hour live online weekly group Zoom sessions, recordings of the sessions, access to all materials in your own portal, in your own app, midweek extras, meditations, distinctions, inspiration, homework. So you're constantly, like, you're living this for 6 weeks. The bonuses is, one is a weekly Q&A office hour with me. So I do stay up one night a week so that the people that may miss the daily recordings can jump on the office hour. So I do an office hour at 6, it's usually 6 p.m. Eastern time. And so I do that once a week. And then I also, you get access to a private Facebook group with the group where we're supporting each other, and also a Source Movement online recorded course. So that course in and of itself is $275, and you actually get that. It's an 8-week do-it-yourself with me recorded, and then a bunch of other materials that you get. So you get that as well. So it's a value of like close to $2,000, and it's only $275. Does anyone have any questions? Let's see. No questions. All right. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you all so much for being here. Like I said, I will send you an email with the link, and I would love to see you in January, and have a beautiful, beautiful night. It's great to see all of you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yes. How's your music going, RJ?
It's incredible. I'm going to be completely transparent about that. It's exciting, and I'm actually incredibly grateful